the business of sport? How is the money being made? How much money is being made?
Cricketing body made close to $2 billion, 3 large tournaments over the next 8 years that are going to be hosted by India when it comes to cricket. The Olympics, hopefully in 2036. The overall tourism in India is growing at around 10%. Sports tourism is growing at 17.5%. First time that I met him, I don't generally freeze. 2 minutes, I was like, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this moment. We got Michael Clarke to get his own private yacht out. We did an experience with Mathew, Hayden. He's deeply spiritual.
How do you find that visualization has helped you actualize your goals?
Our cultural values are sports,
Yeah.
which is S for service, P for performance, perseverance, O, which is ownership, R is for relationships, T is about transparency, statistics. It's 90% data and 10% gut. I've got the pleasure of interacting a lot with Harsh over the last 5 years. Dhoni said, believe in the process, not the result. If your process is right most of the times, then your result will be right most of the times. And he said, look, Virat Kohli puts in so much time in the nets. And it's okay if there are 1 or 2 games that he doesn't perform well. But he's Virat Kohli, he's done the grind. He knows what he is. Come the 3rd game and he'll score a century, right? So that's how you should apply to your day-to-day life as well.
Joining us today is Monish Shah, the visionary founder behind DreamSetGo. With a passion for sports, Monish has redefined fan engagement and luxury sports travel. But there's so much more to him. In this episode, we dive deep into his spiritual belief and mindset as an entrepreneur and how he manifested success. Also his learnings from the greats like Sourav Ganguly and Virat Kohli. There's so much to unpack from this episode. So get ready to dive deep into this inspiring journey of dreams, innovation, and running a business in the crazy world of sports. Welcome to Humans of Bombay, Monish. And I'm excited to chat with you because I love cricket especially, not all sports, but cricket especially. And you have a lot of knowledge and insider information, so I'm excited.
Thank you, Karishma. I'm quite excited about this as well.
Yeah, we were just talking offline about the games, and India is so passionate about especially cricket and just tournament after tournament. We're in the IPL right now, moving to the World Cup. But tell me, what is the viewpoint of sports in your opinion right now in India?
So I think this is going to be the decade of sports for India.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cricket that's happening. There are 3 large tournaments over the next 8 years that are going to be hosted by India when it comes to cricket. The government of India has its vision for the Olympics, hopefully in 2036. And there's a lot of other sports that's happening in India as well. You've got your ISL, you've got your kabaddi, badminton, etc. It's a great time to be in sports in India.
Yeah. And
it's a great time for a company like ours to be operating out of India and offering these experiences to our clients.
Right. So tell me, when you have this view of the sporting industry in general, and especially sport and travel, which is your niche, what actually drives the sporting industry?
So the sporting industry by itself is huge, right?
Yeah.
It starts at grassroots level cricket. Then there's your domestic first-class cricket, international cricket, which happens at the highest standards. And then there's just so much associated with it, right? There's broadcasting from a sports industry standpoint, there's sports merchandise, the celebrity athlete management, and then there's the whole ticketing angle, the sports experiences angle, which is fan engagement. So, within Dream Sports as well, the vision is to make sports better.
And when it comes down to the math of it, right? Like how big do you think the sporting tourism industry is as of now?
It's actually growing at a really fast pace, right? So if I have to give you in terms of stats, the overall tourism in India is growing at around 10% CAGR.
Yeah.
Sports tourism is growing at 17.5%.
Wow.
So as our millennials want more experiences over ownership of assets.
Correct.
And more people want to travel to kind of collect memories and spend their holidays gaining experiences. Sports is becoming more and more dominant. So with the luxury goods market nearly looking to expand by around 3.5x by 2030, you could just draw parallels in terms of the demand that we are seeing increase, right? And we've seen huge growth since COVID year on year. Like the amount of clients that are traveling for Wimbledon, F1, football, cricket will always remain a top priority for Indians, and they travel wherever our team will go to play, and especially with World Cups, that's the ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup, Champions Trophy. They'd want to be there and support the team. So we're seeing a lot of demand. And not only from Indians in India, but Indians globally.
Of course, and we're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the strength. So let's talk about the business of sport in general, right? And then we'll come to like the business of the sporting industry. But let's take, for example, a tournament like IPL, where it's so large scale and the stadiums are packed. Like I went for the India RCB game that just happened in Wankhede, and I was shocked that it was packed to the brim. And there are games every single day. Sometimes there are 2 games. So how does the math work, right? Like for these tournaments, and I'm sure people often have these questions like, how is the money being made? How much money is being made? So if we could talk about the sporting industry in the IPL context and then move into a more specific niche, then we'll have some context setting.
Sure. So I think if we purely talk about IPL, in terms of domestic tourism as well, it's a huge contributor in terms of the inbound sports numbers that we have, right? If I have my math correct, it's close to $2 billion worth of revenue that the cricketing body made last year, right? And that has the Cricket World Cup and the IPL and everything involved. And there's just so many elements to it, right? Like I said, there's the franchise owners, there's the broadcasting rights, there's the sports merchandise. And it's great for the country, it's great for the economy. If you're able to run such a large tournament, it kind of helps every element of sports. And now we are able to see the success of IPL being replicated into other sports as well. And we believe that over the next decade, outside of cricket as well, we'll see huge numbers in terms of the interest that the fans have, in terms of how it'll help the economy. And overall, the athletes benefiting from that infrastructure and being able to perform at the highest international levels.
How has it impacted domestic tourism? Like, what do you have a number or a stat for how many people actually travel for domestic IPL games? Like, what would you place that number of people or percentage of people who would travel to a different city to watch their team play, say, an IPL final?
Yeah. So I can give you that stat in terms of like this. On an average, it's between 15 to 20% of the people that are in the stadium that are coming from outside that city to come and watch the game. IPL is huge in India.
Okay, let's talk about lessons. You've met and interfaced with some of these legends, like you were mentioning. Give me your top 3 experiences and what you learned from those experiences.
We, in our nature of business, we'll end up meeting a lot of athletes. 3, I think my favorite 3 ones would be, first would be the first time that I met Sourav Ganguly. Right? I think I kind of debuted in sports, if I have to talk about it, with Rahul Dravid and Sourav Ganguly, right? Because I think the first game that I saw in live was the Lord's game, India versus England, when Rahul Dravid and Sourav Ganguly debuted. That's why I kind of made fun about it, saying that I debuted with them, because I think that's the first game that I saw and I got hooked onto it. I didn't miss a single ball that both of them batted. So Dada has a very special place in my heart. I'm a huge fanboy. And, the first time that I met him, I don't generally freeze. But for 2 minutes, I was like, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this moment. Then we'll begin our conversation. Today, I would say he's a very dear friend.
Okay.
And, people say don't meet your heroes. You could be upset, but I think that's not true at all. They're just amazing human beings. And I've learned a lot from him, right? He's very calm, composed, rather than what we think about him being genuinely amazing person. And you can pick up these traits that you can apply into your own lives. The other day, we did an experience with Mathew, Hayden, and he and I got talking about a lot of things, and you realize that he's deeply spiritual. So am I. And we landed up talking nearly for an hour about meditation, visualization, spirituality. So you realize that there's a lot to the human being outside of their field. And you also realize for them to excel at that level, there's a lot that goes into it. Right? There's of course that discipline and the hard work. There's a lot of work that they do on their overall being that makes them mentally so tough. And the third one was again, meeting Venkatesh Prasad. So that was a big moment for me there as well, because the first impression that I had about cricket, where I was like, this is competitive, I want to play for India, as a kid, was when he took that Aamir Sohail wicket in the 1996 World Cup, right? And that's one of the reasons why we said we want to do an event for India-Pakistan. The first names that came to my head was Venkatesh Prasad and Aamir Sohail. And just to realize how down-to-earth he is as an individual. He's so humble. So I like picking up traits from human beings which are very relatable, which make them champions in the true sense. And, whether it's being calm and composed, whether it's being humble, or whether it's the spiritual angle. Yeah. I mean, it all resonates with me. And that's why these three interactions I really, really enjoyed. Another really humble individual is Rohan Bopanna. He's an amazing guy. We've got to know him pretty well over the last few interactions with him. And just even after like achieving this much, he's very down to earth and humble. And when you talk to them, you realize there's hours and hours of effort. There's a discipline, there's a hard work, there's a work ethic. So coming back to my point, there's just so many values that you can pick up from sports that you can apply to your own life and excel in whatever you're doing. Whether you're working at an organization or whether you're an entrepreneur running a large business. Sports you can draw parallels and you can directly apply it to your life.
Yeah, 100%. What Virat Kohli just said, right? That it's 1%. And that 1% is sometimes good enough. Yeah. He just said it. And I think that the trajectory of that entire journey, or what his mindset has been throughout, right? Like the India-Pakistan game during the T20 World Cup, which I don't think I'll ever forget. Like
I was there actually.
Really?
And I think it's the best game I've ever seen.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. Yeah. The turnaround, just the comeback, even the test at Gabba. I think like sport in general teaches you how to overcome, like how it's never the end till it's the end, right?
I mean, you can, it teaches you how to have a strategic mindset.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to handle failures. So very important lesson in life is that you can experience failure, you could pick yourself up, you can learn from it, ensure that learning is applied to make you better, put in more discipline, put in more hard work, and just keep going. And then you'll get the results that you want, right? So I actually love this one quote that Dhoni said. Right? It's like, believe in the process, not the result. If your process is right most of the times, then your result will be right most of the times.
Yeah. So another very, like everything that he says, you're just like, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So how does it work? How does the business work? Like how do you elevate the experience, for example? But what have you guys done so far? Like any anecdotes or any experiences that stand out to you?
Yeah. So you know what? Let me take this back a little bit, right? And give you how this idea came into my mind. I was at Deutsche Bank for a good 8 years in global markets. I used to travel a lot to all these destinations from work. London used to be one of the frequent ones. And then I did my startup, which was in social travel. And I used to land up traveling a lot to London again for that. Huge Chelsea fan since early 2000s. And every time I would land in London, I would make desperate phone calls to friends and family asking for tickets. And then I'd land up paying absurd rates, sitting in one end of the stadium somewhere, but very excited to watch the game. That's when at one of those trips, the idea came to me saying, there's got to be a better solution out there. Somebody's got to solve for giving best seats, hospitality, access. This can be done beforehand. And what if we could do something more than that? Every time I would sit there, I would see 2-3 people standing by the pitch and seeing the players train. And I was like, this is incredible. These
like,
guys
how
are like
they
literally this far, and they're getting to see the players warm up. And that's how the idea came to me. So in 2019, when I met with the DreamSports founders, I was having a discussion with Harshen and talking about this entire idea and possibly looking at investment. And he said, why don't you come and create this within the DreamSports universe, right? And create a brand within that. And, we'll give you all the support that's required, use our network and help kind of create this, solve for this problem within sports. So that's how the first idea came in terms of what we wanted to do for DreamSetGo. And then, 6 months down the line, COVID hit. And then we took that time, that 1.5 years to 2 years, to build the right team and get the right sports partnerships. So we onboarded Chelsea Football Club.
Wow.
No surprises.
Yeah.
Manchester City Football Club, Manchester United Football Club, tied up with F1 experiences for all F1 races, tied up with Wimbledon to become their official resellers in India, tied up with ICC for the T20 World Cup that happened in Australia in 2022. And then we started giving our clients access to all these tournaments. Like I said, we wanted to go beyond the game.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some examples of what we did in Australia. Nearly 18 to 20,000 people traveled from India for the T20 World Cup that happened in Australia.
Wow.
And around 15 to 20% of them traveled with us. So it was a big number. We did across the tournament, and we held nearly 30 odd experiences for our clients through the tournament.
Wow.
One such experience was a very private niche one. We got Michael Clarke to get his own private yacht out.
Wow.
20 of our H&I clients were on that yacht. Food, everything was being served by his attendants. And then we took the yacht out, and we had the backdrop of the Sydney Opera and the Harbour Bridge.
Wow.
And then for a good 3 hours, we chilled on the deck with those 20 clients. And they asked him all kinds of questions about his career, about who he thought was the best player that he played with, and got a very intimate experience. Again, on the eve of India-Pakistan, we got Venkatesh Prasad and Aamir Sohail on a panel discussion to discuss the India-Pakistan game and discuss the 96 famous rivalry between them. And we had around 300 clients out there that attended this event. So we've done a lot of these experiences across for sports, and our clients get to kind of come up close with their legends. So for Manchester United, we've got this very special experience where our clients can get to watch the first team train. So 10 of our clients can go one day before the game, see them train, and then get a personal photograph with the entire team.
Wow.
And then for Chelsea or Manchester City, etc., similar, like pitchside experiences. Host your board meetings at the stadium, again, a day before the game. We've had a lot of clients that have got their top CXOs, hosted meetings. Then we've got individuals from the club to come and meet with them, possibly a legend to come and have dinner with them. So it's creating these personal experiences and giving them that access.
Yeah. Let's talk about the World Cup that just went. How was that for you?
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was amazing to service the amount of clients that we serviced across the tournament.
So give me a figure. What was the number like?
So cumulatively last year, more than 15,000 people traveled with us through the year.
Wow.
And for the Cricket World Cup, I would say that a good more than around 50% of that number traveled with us for the Cricket World Cup. So it's a huge amount of people that, by the end of the tournament, my entire team had like really dark circles.
So how do you handle the logistics for such large numbers? And how do you solve for something going wrong in an eventuality? For example, if a game is washed out, or there are so many different factors at play. Like you don't even know what it is. How do you solve for that when you're dealing with so many people? It's one thing to deal with just logistics, but these are actual people who have crazy frenzied emotion when it comes to the game.
Yeah. So in order for me to kind of give you more details on this, it's important to understand that for a large sporting tournament, you've got a global agent that organizes that entire tournament. And then you've got regional agents that kind of take rights to sell, market, execute that event, right? So we'll end up taking, for Paris Olympics, we've taken the exclusive rights. For all the World Cups, we take official rights to sell travel packages, etc. So ours gets even more complicated because when I'm selling you a product for a World Cup, I'm selling you a travel package. So it's tickets to a game. It's hotels in the city that you're visiting or the game is in. And then some kind of experience that we built out. We had more than 3,000 plus corporates, individuals from corporates that traveled with us during the Cricket World Cup. And at one game, at one point, I think we had more than 800 people from one corporate. I think it was the India-South Africa game, which was in Kolkata. And for that, then you need to there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of hotel rooms, there's a lot of experiences. We'll end up doing the whole transfers and everything, and it can get challenging.
It's a logistical, yeah.
That's why I always believe, like I said, I draw inspiration from sports.
Yeah.
So, it's like putting a good team together. If you've got the right opener, you will get to a good start. If you've got a right all-rounder, you know that person will come in and bowl a few overs that is going to save you, bring down the economy rate. So same way, it's very important to hire the right kind of people that have been there, done that, understand the logistics and the planning around it, and then kind of get out of the way and get them to kind of organize that entire bit. But it's challenging.
And when it comes to managing expectations, like how do you kind of set that bar, right? Like when people are expecting something from an experience, for example, how do you, because it's such a subjective concept. Experience by itself is a subjective concept. It's not like I'm giving you a metric and saying this is what I'm delivering. It's quantifiable. This is not. So how do you manage those expectations?
I think when your philosophy and ideology is customer-centric and user-first approach, then a lot of the things that you do and you plan and you execute is keeping the client first.
Yeah.
With that kind of an approach, most of the times you'll end up creating experiences which solve for a real need.
Okay.
We've also done a lot of talking to different kinds of clients. We learn along the way as well. You don't perfect anything overnight. So there's a constant learning, there's constant feedback, there's constant talking to clients, getting their inputs into improving the experience.
How is it that you set SOPs on an entrepreneurial side when it comes to such an emotional, high on emotion driven business, right? Because, I mean, you are providing an experience, but that experience is attached with, say, feelings of patriotism or people who are flying to all parts of the world to support their team. How does the business side work? Like, how do you operate? How do you set systems?
So I think there's two ways to kind of look at this. One is when we look internally from a team standpoint, from a business standpoint. We're not just hiring individuals that are experts at marketing or travel, etc. We're a community of people that love sports. It's passionate sports fans. I would say that more than 90% of my team is super passionate about sports. In fact, that's one of the must-haves that we have in our job descriptions. And individuals that come in want to create that experience for the clients, etc. So when we take a tournament on and we decide that we're going to basically service our clients, all of us basically brainstorm around ensuring that we create experiences that land up giving them access to the best of the games. And then we create experiences in and around that which can cater to ensuring that they have not only that 2 hours or 3 hours or 8 hours at a game that they enjoy, but they can possibly enjoy an entire weekend. So in terms of OKRs that are set, it's not only about the business side of things, which is about our calculations in terms of what match, what game we expect, what number of clients that we can possibly service, but it's also in terms of like what is the kind of customer satisfaction score that we want to have at the end of each one. And we want to at least have a 9 out of 10 at probably a 9.9 or a 10 out of 10, but at least a 9 is what we're seeking at. So it's based on commerce, and like I said, it's based on user feedback. So these two elements are very important for us. And we've been able to do this, so I'm quite happy about that. So.
I like what you said about spirituality, because I'm extremely spiritual myself, and a lot of what I practice kind of bleeds into the business and my entrepreneurial journey. So talk to me a little bit about that. You've spoken about being in the 4 a.m. club, and you visualize and you meditate. Talk to me a little bit about that journey. How did that come about?
So I think very similar to what you said. I believe that I'm able to do what I do because there's a certain routine to me. And there's a certain thought process behind that. I believe a lot in energy. So I'm up at 4 a.m. pretty much every morning.
Wow.
The first thing that I do once I wake up is get work out of my way. So I feel that the first 15 to 30 minutes of getting up and straight working helps me get the main things out of the way. I'm a lot faster at that point. I feel I'm in the
course.
flow.
Yeah.
So there's just stuff that I can do in 15 minutes. It probably take me an hour through the day. Once that is out, then I know I've got a clear mind to meditate. So there's a good 1 to 2 hours of meditation.
Wow.
I most of the times get the sunrise. So I watch the sunrise. I take the 5 elements in. So I'm always on my terrace. I can see the ocean. I can feel the wind in my face, see the sunrise, smell the plants, see the birds come out, nice open sky. And I feel that kind of gives me that energy that I need for the day. It helps me kind of completely calm my mind. And since the time I've started doing this practice, I've seen a huge shift in my output.
Okay.
And I'll just finish the morning routine. There's a certain amount of visualization and manifestation that happens. To know what I'm working on, what do I visualize, what do I want to focus my energies on. And there's a certain amount of Yoga Sutra, which is the book that I'm obsessed with, that I keep falling back to, to help me kind of get better and get a better control over my mind. 8 to 8 is pretty much work. So I leave home at 8, I'm back at 8. In the middle, it's all DreamSetGo.
Yeah.
But what I've seen is when I've got that much time to myself, I don't get up and straight go. Most of us otherwise, wake up and straight leave. I get a lot of personal time that helps me kind of settle down.
Yeah.
And when I'm at work, I feel my intellect is a lot sharper. So I'm able to deal with people. I'm able to deal with problems in a more calm manner. And I believe that helps with the output.
Wow.
So you're able to kind of direct people better. You're able to align them to a common vision. You're able to articulate better. And then with our culture of sports, I think everything else falls into its own place, right? Yeah. So I'd love to tell you a little bit about the culture that we've set into our office. So office is not called office, it's called the stadium. Our managers are not called managers, they are called captains.
Okay.
I'm not the founder, I'm the coach. And, our cultural values are sports, which is S for service. Okay. So like I said, it's a very user-centric approach. So it's the user first. It's P for performance. And we also kind of harp on perseverance because I believe these two are very, very important. So like I said, hire the right opener, get out of their way. They know what they have to do.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years. So get the right performers. We hire the best people, the best talent on the street, and then get out of the way and let them perform. Next bit is O, which is ownership. Let people drive it. Hire people that are performance oriented. They'll automatically take up a lot of ownership and go ahead and get things done. R is for relationships. So whether it's our team, whether it's our shareholders, whether it's our clients or whether it's our partners, our approach towards all of them is the same. We want to ensure that we value our relationships, we treat everybody equally. And when your team is at the heart of that, it automatically gives you you give a lot of love, you give a lot of care, empathy, and you'll get some amazing outputs. T is about transparency. We want to ensure that at all points we are giving them the true picture. We're transparent to our clients, we're transparent to our shareholders, our team, everybody. And last is S, we're a sports company at the end of it. So there's got to be statistics.
Yeah.
Right? So data helps in all the decisions that you make. And when it's 90% data and 10% gut, you're able to take most calls in the most accurate fashion.
Yeah.
And it'll help you kind of learn from your failures or from your previous events and help you get much better for the future. So data becomes very, very important, hence statistics.
So interesting. Extremely interesting model. And I fully agree just in terms of what you said, that you're able to deliver at work because you are an output of your decisions, right?
Yeah.
You're either a combination of good decisions or bad decisions, which ultimately lead you to and shape you to whoever you are today. I'm going to go back a little bit on the spirituality, especially because this is a personal area of interest. How do you find that visualization has helped you actualize your goals? And I ask this because entrepreneurs specifically, in my experience, they're very skeptical about meditation, about visualization. And I can't understand why, because I keep talking about the things that I've once seen, and today it's in flesh and blood. Like yesterday, we got an interview. We cracked an interview that we've been trying for a really long time. And I opened my journal to 2022 and I had written that person's name. And I had continued to write that person's name. And then eventually it just kind of, it was there, but it wasn't there, right? Like, but it was simmering and it actualized yesterday after 2 years.
Yeah.
So I just opened that and I posted on our group chat saying that, you know, for anybody who doubts it or doubts the process, it works. Like this is, it may be 2 years later, but it's still in my experience today.
Yeah. So I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Right? So once I think about something and I want to kind of go out and achieve that, there's a lot of self-belief. And there's just, I think there's trust in the process or in forces that act to get us where we need to, saying that this is going to happen. What I do after that is that I give in my 120%.
You have to act on it.
Yeah. So there's every single night when I go to sleep, one part of my journaling is that have I given my 120%, right? And 120 is an exaggeration in that sense. And basically, have you given your 100%, right? And if I'm satisfied saying, yes, I've given more than that, right? I've literally done everything that I could. Then there's a sense of calm saying that you've done your bit. You've got your team to do the bit. You've aligned the people well. And now let's leave it for the rest of the forces to come and basically come into play. So it's very important, I feel, to be fully convinced in terms of what you're looking to achieve, and then just break it into smaller steps and act on it. So like I said, there's zero doubt. When I'm manifesting, when I'm visualizing, I normally write.
Okay.
I find it easier to be in the zone when I'm writing the things that I want to set out and achieve. And I think over the years, I've realized that there are very important items that you want to focus on. Some things that we do wrong, or at least what I was doing wrong in my previous startup, is I would give everything the same energy and everything the same time and importance. At DreamSetGo, I've realized over a period of time and with some great mentorship, and you land up seeing individuals that do it really, really well, and you learn from them as well. One of the things which just really helped me is focusing on the larger items. Then I give it my all.
The macro.
Yeah, the macro.
Right.
And that macro, that these are the 2-3 things which is going to be make or break for you. That I'll give my entire energy. I'll make it the core of my existence. And that 10 hours that I'm at work or the 12 hours that I'm at work, I'm giving those 3 items the utmost energy. And then I'll find enough time to look at the micro as well. But I won't waste my entire day looking at a micro and not look at the macro.
Yeah. No, these are things you learn and you kind of reflect back and think, okay, this is how you spend your energy, or this is how you spend, or this decision is what led me to this outcome and I'll do it better next time. Is there any particular thing that you visualized because you follow it, I'm sure there are, that manifested into your experience?
Yeah, I mean, for us, last year was an extremely important year.
Okay.
It was us about stepping up, kind of aligning the whole team, saying, look, we can do big numbers, we can service large clients, we can do amazing experiences. And, we've come to dominate this entire space. So it was about aligning 65, 70 people to that vision and executing that.
How do you align? I'm going to stop you at wherever I have questions. How do you align so many people to that one central mission?
So it answers actually your previous question as well.
Okay.
So the first part was about me being super clear in terms of what I wanted.
Right.
And then so that visualization included saying this is the year that we're going to have. This is the experiences that we're going to do. This is the number of people that we're going to service, etc. And I was very clear that this was my vision, right? So now you've defined your vision. Then you break it into smaller steps to execute that. And in order to align everybody, it's about having again, transparency helps. Having a very transparent, honest conversation with your team. I think if that flow is going to be very clear between you and your team, where there's very clear communication, there's a clear flow of energy, and you're able to show them what your vision is and what the end output is, then you're helping them visualize that end goal as well. Most of the people in your offices are able to visualize that end outcome. You've pretty much got collective consciousness that's working in your favor.
Yeah.
So it worked for us last year. I mean, I've seen it work every single time, whether it's a house and you're collectively aligning individuals in your house, or whether it's an organization, it works.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about mentorship. You were just mentioning that you have a great set of mentors, and I feel like this is such an understated experience that entrepreneurs take for granted, right? Great mentors. Like I have 2 or 3 great mentors who I fall back upon, who give me solid advice, who can be that like devil's advocate almost, because I'm a solo founder. So that makes it difficult to kind of trust or to kind of reason with yourself. What are some of the things? Who are your mentors and some of the things?
I'm a solo founder as well.
Okay.
But I've been blessed to work within the entire DreamSports infrastructure, or multiverse as I call it, right? With all these different brands which are there those are looking to solve problems in sports in different domains. We've got actually very enterprising founders of the DreamSports overall. So they are my investors as well. They sit on my board. That's Harsh Jain and Bhavit Sheth. I've got the pleasure of interacting a lot with Harsh over the last 5 years. And there's just so much that I have learned, right? And one particular example that sits in my head, he also looks at life and corporates in terms of applying learnings from sports.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
And there was a particular failure we had at some point, and I was having a chat from a board perspective. And he said, look, Virat Kohli puts in so much time in the nets. He keeps doing that day in and day out. He keeps hitting the ball well, seeing it, gives all his net practices, a lot of sincerity, hard work, true effort. And it's okay if there are 1 or 2 games that he doesn't perform well. But he's Virat Kohli, he's done the grind. He knows what he is. Come the 3rd game and he'll score a century, right? So that's how you should apply it to your day-to-day life as well. Just keep doing the process well, and continue learning from your failures and apply it again. And then there's nothing in the world that's going to stop you from getting success if you're able to apply that again. So I believe he's someone that I draw a lot of inspiration from. There are some very senior people that sit on my board from DreamSports, and I have access to them. So if there's something that I want to learn about human resources, I'll probably go to the CHRO at DreamSports. If there's something that I want to discuss about marketing, or I want to have my team learn from the stuff that they've been doing, we have access to the CMO.
Yeah.
So I believe these set of individuals of the talent that we have help us grow so much. But most of my mentors are from this, from the DreamSports family, and I feel it's an amazing team that helps us constantly grow. So.
And how do you provide mentorship to people in your team? What do you tell them? Say something's gone drastically wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like, which it does. It's life, it's business, it happens. And something's just not working. So what would your advice be to your team?
So there's multiple ways of looking at it, right? And it's very situational based.
Yeah.
If there's something that's gone wrong, again, like in sports, it's important to be there as a leader, as a captain, understand what the problem is, give a solution. We don't have a culture where we do a lot of finger pointing or blame game. When it's a genuine mistake, right? If somebody's put in the effort, has done everything that they can, and then there's a failure, we try to understand what were the reasons. Did we do everything well? And if there is a genuine reason why it didn't, we like to support our team. We like to work with them in helping them learn from this and ensuring that the next time this doesn't happen. What we want to be mindful about is not encourage a behavior where the same mistake is repeated again and again. Yeah. Then you've not got the right opener in place. Then you've got to find a better opener, right? Because you need to get the best performer. But with our team, I think it's always about ensuring that we're able to discuss it, we're able to hear, we're able to reason it out. And if it's a case where it's a genuine problem that it's been brought to us, then we'll put in all the effort and the energy to solve that together. So there's teamwork that happens not only at peer-to-peer level, but also at captain, coach, and player level, because that's how you'll solve problems and overcome hurdles.
And do you find that you're able to balance your mindset better when things don't go your way because of what you spoke about earlier, which is spirituality?
Yeah. It helps you kind of see get a larger perspective to things. You're able to, like I said, I feel when I'm in that zone, my intellect shines more.
Yeah.
So I'm able to take calmer decisions. You also realize from life and from experience that sometimes when things don't go right in that moment, if you're doing everything right otherwise, it may take some time. It's our expectations that we believe that something needs to happen right now that leads us to anxiety or suffering in that time. But if you're able to kind of leave it and see it as it is, and walk through each moment, then eventually I think it'll kind of sort itself out, right? And keep working towards it, keep giving it that energy, keep looking to solve that problem, and it plays off. At the end, you will get the result that you want.
Yeah, it balances out eventually over
Yeah.
time. Okay, awesome. So last few questions. I'll begin with, what are the next 5 years looking like for you?
Next 5 years, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. Like I said, there are 3 large cricket tournaments that are happening in India. There's a lot of sports that's happening globally. We've realized, like I said, there's Indians that are across the world that want access to celebrities, these sporting tournaments, etc. So we will look to kind of target that audience as well and ensure that we're able to cater to a much larger set of Indians around the world. And we want to start ensuring that we're able to kind of elevate our experiences even further.
Okay.
So, we want to work around, can you travel with legends? Can you get that kind of access? Can we increase the number of experiences that we do for corporates and for individuals, which are meet with your legends? Can we ensure that these are all around the world? These are with the top names that are there. Can we get more rights to hospitality, make larger investments and ensure that we can take huge amount of inventories to cater to the global audience across large sporting tournaments, whether it's across football, F1, cricket, tennis, rugby. We're seeing a lot of interest now that's kind of coming up within rugby, American football, etc. And then above all, we want to ensure that we are able to kind of live the Indian dream. Right? I want to work very closely with ensuring that we are able to create top sports experiences across sports in India, so that when fans like you come into our stadiums or want that experience, you're able to get world-class experiences. That becomes a memory that you'll never forget.
Yeah. And how much do you think this industry is going to aggressively increase by over the next 5 to 10 years?
Like I said, there's a CAGR of around 17.5%.
Yeah, as of now.
As of now. And we expect this number to go even more higher. So I'm expecting it to be north of 20%.
Okay.
And in the next decade, we'll see huge inbound tourism for sporting events that are held in India. But at the same time, you'll see more and more Indians that are going to travel internationally. By 2030, we're expecting India to be one of the top 3 economies in the world, which means that with the upper middle class rising significantly, we'll see more and more travel that's going to happen. And that travel is going to be hugely contributed by experiential travel.
Yeah. Okay. 2 sets of advice. The first one I'll start with is on a spiritual lens. Anybody who wants to begin their spiritual journey, what would you tell them?
It's very important to get your mind clear. You've got to ensure that you get some time for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the number one key to start any kind of spiritual journey. You could be rising late, sleeping late. I think that can be corrected over a period of time to each their own. But finding at least 2 hours through the day. And I don't believe when people say that I don't have the time, everybody can manage time for everything that you want to do. 24 hours is a lot of, it's a big day that you can do a lot of things, you can get a lot of things done. But find at least 2 hours for yourself to either read something around spirituality, listen to podcasts. There are some amazing podcasts out there, or just be in nature.
Yeah.
Right? Just be in nature, let whatever thoughts come. Think of it like a empty screen with bubbles, which are your thoughts that are coming through. Just watch them. They'll disappear.
Okay. Give me resources. Tell me some of the podcasts or some of the books that you enjoy personally.
So there's only one book that I
swear
by, and that's the Yoga Sutra. That's how yoga basically came into existence. It's written by Patanjali. And that's, I think, the best summarization of everything from the Vedas to the Gitas, etc. It's the same thought process of the path. It's just simplified into how to get to that state where you can excel. So I would strongly recommend anybody that wants to get onto this path to read the Yoga Sutra. And there's just so many versions. There's Swami Vivekananda, and there's B.K. Iyengar, and there's the Yoga Institute, Yogendra Ji, that's written that. So you've got some amazing books out there. Pick a thin one to start off with. There's some really thick ones out there as well. And just judge for yourself if that works for you or not.
Okay.
And I mean, from a podcast standpoint, there's some really cool podcasts. I won't say podcasts, but there's some really good videos of J. Krishnamurti.
Yeah. Oh, I love J. Krishnamurti.
I love the stuff that it's very deep.
Yeah.
I won't say a start off for that, but somewhere through your journey, get to that.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And the last question is advice for entrepreneurs. Just in terms of everything that you've learned from your highs, your lows, advice.
I pretty much have only one advice, which I feel every entrepreneur must do, is just plan your day in the evening for the next day. So calendarize what you want to achieve right from the start till the end. Personal time to professional time, everything. Put it on a calendar and make sure you can follow it to the T. Because when you spend time planning things and you're able to get most of the things actioned upon, then eventually you're putting the right foot forward every single day. So I spend a lot of time ensuring that I've got my calendar in place. And that would be my advice to any young entrepreneur, saying focus, plan, and then look to execute.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but a lot of people actually don't do it. They wing it. Yeah. Okay, that's great advice. Thank you so much for doing this. I've learned a lot and excited for your upcoming World Cup. I will be there and hopefully we win.
Thank you so much, Karishma.
Thank you. Thank you for being the best community, and we'll see you in the next one.